So we came back to inspect it, and the person we bought it from was a slumlord. And so we're looking at it. We got there before her to the appointment, and the maintenance guy said, "Hey, come check this. You guys come check this out. Look what I'm doing over here." So we're in the building, and underground, he had a leak, and he had to go 17 feet, busting up the concrete between two units to find the end of the leak, because the pipe was just crumbling. Well, what happens is when that pipe crumbles, you just keep chasing that leak, and you know that it's never going to end. So we said, "Hey, this is bad. This is horrible. We got to replace all the plumbing now, because if it's that bad underground," we've seen the pipes. We said, "This is not the only isolated place. It's everywhere. It's deteriorated." We were in our inspection period. So we went to the broker and said, "Listen, we need a $250,000 credit, or we're bailing."
As an operator, I know other investors are romanticizing multifamily investing, and I'm looking to learn from other investors' mistakes. I know you are too, and you found the right place. Welcome to Myers Methods Presents Multifamily Missteps. Hey everybody, and welcome to Myers Methods Presents Multifamily Missteps. I'm your host, Jerome, and I've got the great pleasure of having Bruce Wuollet with me. Did I get that right, Bruce?
That's good. Bruce Wuollet, yes, with Bakerson.
Bakerson. So you came to us through Ruben. And
sure did. The Capital Raiser show, yes.
I've had the great pleasure of being on the Capital Raiser show and networking with Ruben over the past few months. And when I reached out to the LinkedIn family, he jumped in and tagged you guys at Bakerson and wanted to demonstrate how well you guys have been doing in the marketplace. And so with that, would you do me a favor and share with the listeners a little bit about your background?
Sure, I'll keep it brief. Bakerson, I've been in business, founded the company in 2002 in October, and partnered with a fellow by the name of Jack Martin. And we, both of our fathers were bakers. In fact, they worked together at the Wuollet bakeries, my family's bakery in Minnesota back in the 60s. And so that's where the name Bakerson came from. We're sons of bakers. So I tell people, yep, I'm an SOB. I'm a son of a baker. So it gets people's attention. They remember that. And then we formed the business, and we started the buy, fix, and sell of single family homes. And this was 2002, 2003, and we could find way more properties we could possibly fix and sell. So I was introduced to wholesaling, and we wholesaled over 2,000 homes in the course of our career. And about 5 or 6 years ago, we were flipping multifamily. We said, "Hey, why don't we buy, fix, and sell, form syndications, and we could create do value creation." So we did that with 6 buildings in Phoenix, is where we started. And then the Phoenix market got a little bit crazy in our mind, even though it's doubled since then. It was pretty crazy 4 years ago. So we started pursuing things in Tucson. And around that time, Jack Martin and I went different ways. The good news is we're still best friends. We talk every week. No bad blood at all. He wanted to pursue other dreams, and I wanted to stick with the brick and mortar multifamily. So we did, like I said, he was part of the buildings in Phoenix. And then when I went into Tucson, I branched out on our own, and we've done 10 buildings down there. Smallest being 12, the largest being 107. And in Phoenix, our smallest was 6, largest was 120. So our sweet spot is the 50 to 100, around 75 is really a good niche for us. And we're able to carve that out and do pretty well with those. So that's a really fast introduction of who we are. And we can get into more detail as you ask more questions.
Yeah, man. So that's super impressive. 2,000 homes, and that's before the big wave of wholesaling and doing it virtually and being in the Phoenix market and all those guys that are kind of the thought leaders of the industry now.
Yeah, we haven't wholesaled since, I'm guessing 2015.
Wow. That's aggressive. Did you make most of your transactions during the recession, or were you kind of even all the way through?
No, we made a lot of them actually between 2002 to 2007. We sold all of our rental properties in 2007 and got into land, and we thought we were going to be some super big developers. We had this big plan, and we secured a square mile of land We were working with a group that had contact with Greg Norman. He designed a course on paper, and he was going to fly out, and we were going to become these big wig golf course developers. And then the market had other ideas. So 2008, 9, 10, the world came crashing down, regrouped in 2011. And then 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 is when we really wholesaled as many as 300 homes a year in some of those years. So it was quite a deal. And some of those the transactions we had done, our largest is people talk about single escrow and double escrow. Our largest is 4 escrows on one property with 3 title companies. It was insane. It was so much fun though.
Whoa, I would be scared that that thing didn't close. So, this is Multifamily Missteps, and I imagine through this journey, you guys have had some hiccups along the way, a bunch of pivots. Is there a specific deal you want to talk about today? Well,
there's three properties I want to share where we had some missteps, but the good news are that the missteps, and they're similar cases. So you want me to just dive right into it? I can just start sharing. Okay, we had we purchased a 74 unit property in Tucson, and during the inspection, we went there we said, we're going to do another inspection of the chiller system because it's a master metered chiller system. If you're not in the southwest, you may not know what that is, but it's I guess they probably have them in other areas too, but it's the heating and cooling is done through hot water and cold water. And so the summertime, there's cold water pipes run through the pipes, and then runs through a coil, and then the air blows through that, and it cools the place off. So it's water based, and it's a sealed system. And if it's not sealed, then you have a problem because you can't. If you don't have running water through there, you can't keep it cool or hot. So we noticed that the meter there's a meter on there that tells you if the water is leaking, and it was slowly moving, which means it was losing, I think it was 6 to 10 gallons a minute, 6 gallons a minute. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was you could see that the meter was moving, which is not good because a sealed system should not move. So we came back to inspect it, and the person we bought it from was a slumlord, and so we're looking at it. We got there before her to the appointment, and the maintenance guy said, "Hey, come check this. You guys come check this out. Look what I'm doing over here." So we're in the building, and underground he had a leak, and he had to go 17 feet busting up the concrete between 2 units to find the end of the leak because the pipe was just crumbling. Well, what happens is when that pipe crumbles, you just keep chasing that leak, and you know that it's never going to end. So we said, "Hey, this is bad. This is horrible. We got to replace all the plumbing now because if it's that bad underground," we've seen the pipes. We said, "This is not the only isolated place. It's everywhere. It's deteriorated." We were in our inspection period, so we went to the broker and said, "Listen, we need a $250,000 credit, or we're bailing." Well, the lady was scrambling to sell. She accepted it, and we were able to get a $250,000 credit. And then the repair on that ended up being about $375,000. So went over went about where we budgeted. So we weren't. It did cost more, but we bought it low enough, $23,000 a door, and so that was we averted a major deal there by going for that second inspection. Had we not done that, we had a mess on our hands without an ability to really overcome it. I think it could have been a really big problem. So the misstep was that we missed that in the first inspection. The second inspection, it was alerted to us just by the luck of chance that the maintenance guy told us. Well, what happened was he had switched. This was in April. He had switched from winter to summer. So you got to go from cold water to hot. We're supposed to bring it down to ambient air the water down to ambient air temperature and then convert it over. If you do it too quick, going from hot to cold, it shocks the system, and some of the joints can come loose. And she was really upset that he flipped it over before or while they still owned it. So we were very thankful that it happened because we were able to get a big credit.
Do you still buy buildings with chillers in them?
Yes, we have 3 buildings currently in Tucson, 74, 75, and 90, and they all have master meter chillers on them. Yep.
So they don't scare you at this point just because you were able to get the credit done and really not a whole lot of other impact otherwise?
Well, that was, you can call that one a seminar. We learned a lot about a chiller system, and my son went to school on that, so to speak, and he learned inside and out, and he became an expert relatively quick. Once you understand them, they're actually they're not too much. But when we first got in there, we're like, whoa, there's way too much to understand. But he just asked a ton of questions, did a ton of research, and now we love them. I'll gladly buy them anywhere in Texas. If Texas has them as well, and I'd love to pursue some of those when we expand to other markets. But yeah, that was the biggest scare we had. It's like, wow, we're so glad we found that.
Now you mentioned the 375 was a total expenditure to fix that. You got a 250,000 credit. Did you expect it to be 250 to fix it, or did you budget the 375?
No, we got a pretty solid number that it was still within the budget. But we knew that once we replaced all that, it added value to the property, because the screw machine that condenses, or that that creates the heat or creates the cooling, was brand new. And so she had that. It was only a couple years old, and the furnace was fairly new. So for the hot water, so there was once we got done, almost everything except for the little tower the cooling tower outside was brand new. So we have this is a 30-year system now. If you maintain it properly, you can run that for 30 years without an issue. So that's why that became a value add, that we could say, okay, we went for 250, knowing that's going to cost us more, but we said, you know what, that's okay. That's a risk we're willing to take. And it's in escrow right now. We should be closing here in a couple of weeks on that one for a sale, and it's going to do really well.
Really? So you're exiting the deal after making a value add. Were you able to bump rents and do all the other stuff? Tell me a little bit more about the deal, and since you're going full cycle on it.
Yeah, that one there, we were able to push the rents quite a bit further than we thought. We added RUBS, for reimbursements for utilities, and that is at $50 to $100 per unit in addition to the rent. So we're pushing that pretty high, but it's all bills paid. When they come in, there's their electric and water and heating and cooling is all covered in the rent. So we have RUBS. The bigger units are $100 per unit in addition to the rent. But the resident base that we have, it's really good for them, because they don't, they may not qualify for the turn on and turn off of power and all that. Some of those, it's just can be difficult for the lower income individuals to be able to do that. So since it's all bills paid, it works well for us. So we were able to push rents. We went over budget on that, but the good news is the market saved us. And the other two projects I was going to share with you as well that had similar issues, the market has saved us. And that's so if we'd have been in a different market, like right now, if we'd have been getting into them, we'd be a little more nervous. But we bought them 2-3 years ago, so the market was lower then, and it's just gone straight up since then.
What's up, guys? It's your host, Jerome. I just want to let you know we launched Myers Methods in the fall of 2019 with the ambition to inspire a new breed of multifamily investor. If you are interested in getting into multifamily or scaling your current business, hop over to our website at myersmethods.com to grab your free 4-step guide on how to get the ball rolling in multifamily. Now let's get back to the episode. Nice. Now, are you saying there's 2 more deals you want to talk through, or is it the same issue on all 3?
No, it's a little bit different issues. The biggest challenge we had, we went into Tucson and tackling our first deals on our own, was underestimating the cost of plumbing and air conditioning. And so the AC estimates, we are off usually around 20%, and the plumbing around 20%. However, on the 32 unit that we purchased in was half vacant. We ran it down to 4 occupied units out of 32 during the repositioning. And so we completely vacated it, rebuilt it inside out. But we went 3 times the budget on heating, or in the AC units and the plumbing, because of the issues that we ran into once we dove into it, because those are hidden from everybody, right? So we went 3 times over budget. We were pretty nervous, but the market was very good to us, and we sold it and then really did well on it. But it was only because of the market. It was nothing that we did. And the rents we were able to push the rents higher than we put on our pro forma, so that helped push the value. But if it wasn't for that, it could have been a whole different story. So we're thankful that the market spoke, and we were able to turn it effectively and turn a good profit.
So you said you were 20% over budget on your HVAC. What is a dollar figure?
I'm sorry. On one property, or a couple of properties, we went 20 over budget, but on this 32 unit, we went 3 times our budget. So we are 300%.
Wow. And so that's $1 million?
No, it ended up being, we had done lighter, because we didn't think that once we got in there, we'd have to replace some of the split, the AC units were outside the door, and then the heating portion was inside, and there was a split system, and we didn't realize the cost of revamping the split system. We ran a lot of issues once we dove into and turned them on. There was a lot of issues internally that we did not foresee, because they're in a closet in the hall, the AC units, and then the condensers are outside, hanging on the wall. So
okay. I mean, you just write a check to fix the problem, or I mean, how'd you guys work through that? Because that's a big number. I mean, we were off dollars.
Yeah, we went back to the investor. There was a one-off investor. We went back for a capital call, and he was gracious enough to push it, get us some more capital. We put in our own capital as well to cover that. So it was, it ended up all right. But again, only because of the market shift, and we were able to push rents higher than we thought, higher than pro forma, that it turned out to be a really good return.
So I feel like everybody dreads the capital call. How was that conversation? Was it painful, or was he pretty gracious?
No, he was very gracious. We shared it with him, and he said as long as it goes in as the same return as the rest of them, that it doesn't hurt him, it doesn't dilute his shares. He says he's willing to do that, and we were able to do it and not dilute his shares. So he still had over 18% annualized, IRR. So we were able to score on that because we were able to show that we were able to push rents and get a better value out of the property.
Okay, and so
again, like I said, though, if we were in a soft or dropping market, who knows how we would have handled that? I don't want to know. I'm pretty grateful it worked out the way it did.
So for the folks who don't know, dilution of equity means anytime more capital comes into the deal, it can change the ownership percentages. And so did everybody contribute at the same amount, or how did you guys actually make sure that the equity wasn't diluted? Because you said you guys put
there was only one investor in there. Mm-hmm. And we just maintained that he got the same return that we had on the pro forma for the initial, and he was able to see through that, and we were able to show him that, hey, this is actually going to help. If you put this in, this is where we're going to put the value, and it's not going to dilute your shares because we're pushing value by making these additional repairs, and we're able to push rents because of what we did on the turns on the inside, making it almost a B- quality. We ran it as a B-, even though it was a C property, a C neighborhood. We were able to push it because of the surrounding amenities. There's nice malls, really nice mall with higher end stuff right nearby. So the people that work there had a little higher wages. We had people from the hospital as well as police officer renting from there. So it was a very safe, almost a B- property, but we bought it. It was, like I say, it was a slumlord. It was 50% vacant, brought it down to 4 occupied units, which, by the way, that's another thing that people may not have the stomach for. Our 74 unit, we brought down to 17 occupied while we were turning that, because we had to shut everything down with that, repiping the chiller system, and no heat or no AC, so we couldn't in the summertime. So we were working on it. We couldn't have people in there.
Did you guys plan to go that low? Because I mean, you absolutely can't pay your mortgage with that. So was the plan?
So we call that the valley of death. When your expenses, there's no income. So we do budget that in there. We show the investors that, hey, that one is syndicated. We showed the investors that during this time, your equity is going to fund the debt, and here's how it's going to work. And we pushed through that, and still, that's on the market now for about $60,000 a door. We bought it for 23. So the return is going to be pretty solid.
How much are you guys putting into rehabs, if you don't mind me asking?
On the 74 unit, we put close to $1 million in rehab, and the 32 unit we bought it for $850, and we put close to the same in rehab.
So 12 a door or so, something like that.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, some of those we've gone quite a bit higher. So I suppose I should figure out per door. Yeah, we were $13,000 a door in rehab on that one, on the 74 unit, and then let me see and we were about 20 a door on that other one, that 32 units. So it's pretty steep. But those are rough estimates. But yeah, those are really, really heavy turns, and I'm not afraid of those.
Right. So, I mean, let's wrap this thing up, because we promised these things will be short and jam-packed. And I mean, you've added a lot of value for me, because I'm in the process of looking at a 66 with a chiller system. So the thing that you just offered to me is pretty rewarding.
By all means, call us if you have any questions, any questions at all on the tiller system or what you need to look for. Call us. We're open book on this. It's a very large sandbox. We can all play and get along. So don't hesitate to call with questions, please.
Wow, I really appreciate that, Bruce. What words of wisdom do you offer to the folks that are entering into this place or scaling in this place?
Well, it's a phrase that I coined 2.5 weeks ago at our Monday morning meeting. Be the rock in times of uncertainty. That as a leader of your organization, you really need to be firm and be the rock and not be pushed around by the winds of change.
And so how is that impacting your business? What are you guys doing? Where are you steady? Where are you placing your rocks right now?
Right now, we're pushing rents and working with the residents. So far, we've got only a couple out of the 200 or so residents that have asked for any forgiveness or some relief due to the coronavirus. So currently, we're not affected at the property level. We're bracing ourselves for the next week because today is rents are due. So we'll see how it goes over the next couple of weeks. But as of yesterday, the manager said that it looked very optimistic. Just be informative, keep communication open with the residents, and realize that they are, in fact, your customer.
Awesome, Bruce. I really appreciate your time. And if I can do anything to help out, please let me know.
Sounds good. Thanks so much for letting me be on your show. This is awesome.
Thank you. Talk to you soon. You made it to this juncture, so you really love what we shared on this episode of Myers Methods Presents Multifamily Missteps. Do us a favor. Give us a 5-star rating. Give us a review. And share this with somebody who's interested in multifamily investing. Until the next time, the pack is with you.